So, excuse the fact that I look ridiculous, but I just wanted to tell you that this video that you're about to see, I recorded throughout all last week, and the stuff that I talk about in it, I was finally able to actually get the information that was really hard for me to find just the other day, which I'll leave a link for in the description below. So please enjoy the following tidbits from me. And then after I wash my hair and I get the rest of the dye off of it, guess what time it is? It's gonna be recorded on my new phone, because Emoji Stick Guy got me a new phone so that I don't have to worry about dropping one of the other phones that I have, such as this one right here that is in that kind of shape. And it looks really nice because there's not a really, you can't see it, but it's mega cracked and there is a lot of tape on that thing. It's as well as the one that I'm recording on too. It's a Samsung. It's I'm not sure what kind of Samsung it is though, but anyways, that's really all I use phones for anyways. But the coolest thing I got was this right here. This thing I'm using, you can see the part of it. It goes around my neck, or I can kind of sit it on my thigh, or I can use it as a stand for my phone to record, which is so awesome. So, all of that awesome stuff, awesomeness, is coming up soon. So, stay tuned.
Hour out, and it's just weird though. I mean, it could be a weird coincidence. I mean, of course,
I told you, I don't believe in them.
But
I don't.
It's a little weird if you ask me, man. Especially when you said
that guy's just sitting there watching traffic. That was weird. She just got off a bus with a big ass. See, girl, why? There was again in Biltmore Park when I was on my way home this morning. There was someone in front of me. Their tag. Guess where it was from? New Jersey. And I followed them all the way up into the park. So it's like,
there is no virus like that.
But still, if they want us to believe what they're saying on the news, this is just, my take on it, then there's a lot of people out there that are either A, just being defiant as hell and saying, nope, I'm going to do what I want, or they really don't believe that. They just are just like me and you. They just don't believe that's what's going on. And they just don't care. Or people that are going from state to state, like a person that's from New Jersey, that's clearly down in North Carolina right now.
That could have been somebody that's big.
Or they could have got here at that time that the ban was implemented. They just decided to stay here and hunker down or whatever.
Or before.
Yeah, like right at the same time.
Like say my brother was here from Canada or something.
Yeah.
South Carolina. His tag would say South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he hunkered down. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't think that, like I said, I don't think that's how it's spreading. I don't think that's even close to how it's spreading, dude. If it's a virus, I don't think that's how it's spread.
But like I was saying, if you notice in the stores, especially the ones that actually have it marked 6 feet, every 6 feet, where they want people to stand, look at the distance between you and that person. If both of y'all are standing on the marks where you're supposed to, there's just enough space between y'all to where even if you're a bad shot, you're going to hit the target that you're supposed to hit and nothing else. You see what I'm saying?
I think it's funny, too, that somehow, some way, there's a source that's letting us know that every time a celebrity gets it.
Oh, and they're proud as shit almost to get on the TV and tell you that they effing got it.
Who's the source, though, that's doing that, too? And it's like, it's weird. Like, the whole thing is weird, man. It's almost like they're trying to, shove it down our face, like, yes, man, see, these guys got coronavirus.
They got it, so it must be real, it must be real. And it's like, nope, it's bullshit. That's what makes me think it's bullshit even more, is that there's so many celebrities like, this is what it's like to have it. I'm at home, stay home. Push it. They push their agenda. Yep.
That celebrity's saying something is going to completely change.
When one of the fucking Kardashians pops up with it, then that's how you know it's fake. Boom. When one of them pops up with it, that's how you know it's fake. Or Kanye gets it. Or Beyonce gets it.
Why do you think?
Because people listen to them more than fucking anybody. Like this morning, I'm sorry, no offense, boo, but I was in line in front of a chick that was on the phone with one of her female friends talking about rappers and, oh my God, what are they doing to make money right now? And this dude named Moneybags just dropped a video yesterday, and I'm like, really? This is what the fuck you're fucking talking about right now?
What if they're paying people?
Fucking Moneybags? Who gives a fuck about fucking Moneybags?
What if they're paying people to say...
They are, babe.
That they had the money.
Really? Tom Hanks was one of the first celebrities to come out and say him and his wife had it. Isn't he like one of the highest grossing actors right now?
But it's hurting. But that's what I'm saying, though. The people...
So, I wanted to talk to you guys about something. I was going to talk to you guys about it yesterday already anyways, because it was like so cool, right? So yesterday I get in the car at like I think it was about 6 or 7 o'clock yesterday, and of course talk radio is always on, because talk radio is always on sports after I get in the car, after my boyfriend's been in the car. So I jump in the car, and it's the Paul Feinbaum show. And anybody who watches sports or ESPN or anything, you probably know who I'm talking about. I'm not really that big into it, but there's been so many times I've gotten in the car, and whatever they've been talking about, whether it been something going on with sports that I was actually interested in and whatever, like, that's from smoking, not from coronavirus. So I get into it yesterday, and as soon as I get on there, it's like the final call of the final hour of the Paul Feinbaum show. Feinbaum show. Paul Feinbaum. You can go to ESPN.com and you can find it, right? So it's the final caller, and he calls in, and apparently he was on earlier this week, and Paul, I guess, hung up on him, and he was a little ticked about that, but that was not why he was calling in. He was calling in because I would love to tell you the guy's name, but I just happened to miss that part as I was getting in the car. And the reason why I'm talking to you about this is because of what happened when I went to retrieve said clip from podcast. So let me finish explaining what he was talking about, and then you'll understand more about what happened. Okay, so he begins off talking about he has 2 twin sons who have this really rare genetic disorder that causes their body, in particular their brain, to not be able to process protein if they eat it, like, so they can't have protein. I have to go and look up the exact condition, but again, when I went last night to go get the clip of this podcast, of this like, again, like I said, this was the last segment of the podcast. This was the very last caller of the podcast, and I know this because when he called and he said that he had gotten hung up, he was like, I just want to know if I'm going to have my 5 minutes. Paul then gave him, he said, you have as much time as you want, here's the floor. He then proceeded to explain the stuff with his 2 twin boys, the protein deficiency, and how what happens is it literally causes a neurological thing in their brain, and it would make them retarded. So, or that's what he said, and I'm sorry to use that word. I know some people find it offensive, but, like, that's what happens, okay? So, it damages their brain. That being said, he said that led him down a road when they found out about the boys' disorder to, like, doing a lot of research and stuff about vaccines. And that's what this is about. So I go on to ESPN, because as soon as I get home, I literally stopped what I was doing yesterday, come home, stopped from going to the store to get a couple things, turn around, come home to tell him what I had heard, because the stuff that I had heard in this particular clip was so mind-blowing. It was insane. I'll talk about that in another video, but it had to do with vaccines, the genetic material that makes up vaccines, the fact that in that genetic material is known cancer-causing genes, like 56, I think, to be exact, and that this is in all vaccines, by the way, vaccines that I received as a child, that you probably received as a child, that your children are currently receiving right now as children. It's in all the vaccines. Okay, so while I'm listening to this, you can imagine what I'm thinking. Oh my God, at any second, they're just going to, they're going to cut them off the air, right? They don't. Which is why, to my surprise, when I went to go and find it, they edited out this man's call. They literally edited out his call and nothing else. They had the entire last segment, all the way up until his call. They even have the freaking advertisements in the recording of the podcast, and yet they edited out this man's call. I can't imagine why they would do that, could you? Probably wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that he was clearly an anti-vaccinator. So am I. I wish that I had known the stuff I know now before I had children. Or I'm telling you right here, right now, my children would have had not a one vaccine. I tried to tell this to my daughter, but she is her child's parent. But I said, please just do your due diligence and read about these vaccines and what they are made from. And I mean all the way down to what is called MRC-5. Everybody look that up. MRC-5. And look it up. Okay? So, that flew all over me so much that I went to bed last night thinking about it. I woke up this morning thinking about it because, you know, it's pretty clear to me that why they did what they did, and that's the problem. That's censorship. That is stomping all over freedom of speech, which to me is like the second dearest thing to my heart other than my children, is the freedom of speech. Because when you start taking our freedom of speech, eventually you'll go to our freedom of like thought. And then if you've never read 1984, or if you've never seen the movie 1984, I recommend you read the book. There's a lot more in the book that's not in the movie. Do so. I think there's like a fine line with this like dystopian world that everybody talks about, and then also like just being a freaking bot or a fucking sheep lining up for the slaughterhouse. But the good news is I got up today and I saw that there were cities all across the country protesting, and I was happy because the revolution has begun. This warms my heart so much. And the other thing. Yes, okay, so that brings me to my next thing. So first we had some not so good stuff. So the next part is some really awesome stuff. Again, it's that synchronicity stuff. So I'm sitting there listening to New York City Governor Andrew Cuomo, who I just think is just such a BA mofo, okay? Just because every day he comes to the daily briefing fully prepared. He knows not only our numbers, but the country's numbers for numerous things, like how many ventilators we got versus how many ventilators we should have had for the projections and all that stuff, right? Dude does his homework. He's prepped. He knows what's up, okay? So I'm watching it today, and about 5 minutes into the briefing, I hear him, this is give or take 5 minutes. It may be a little bit more, it may be a little less. Anyways, you'll hear him say it if you watch it from start to finish. You'll hear him say, that is the yin-yang of this, isn't it? Which I was like, because you know how much I love yin-yangs and duality, and I just said this in my last video. Again, the synchronicity, right? Okay. Then, I'm going to have to go back and like look up the timestamp so you can get to it quicker. But there's a part of this where he is like responding to Trump's criticism of the preparedness of the states and stuff like that. Basically laying it on the governor, laying the blame on the governor's, of course, not taking none for himself. And the classiest response, I'll tell you. And right in the middle of it, he goes, so, literally, he says, so, and then he finishes, and I was like, dude, if you're not on Team Cuomo, you should be. If you watch this channel, and you know how much I say so, like, that's my thing, then you should definitely be on Team Cuomo, because Team Cuomo must be on Team M's Mad World, even though he doesn't know it, because I say that, and he said that too, and we clearly think a lot alike, so, I mean, dude, the confidence that is, like, emitting off of that man is just so amazing to me. That every time he's just on TV. I'm just like, why ain't this dude our president? Why isn't this dude our president? I mean, there's no chance that Bernie's going to get in. I mean, he's already dropped out. So, we need this dude. So, Cuomo 2024. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think. And I'm going to do some more research on that MRC-5. That's how much it messed with me that I had it written on my hand and I slept on it. And I'm not even going to go into what specifically well, I will tell you this. That's the genetic material that they use for the vaccines. You need to look up where and what the genetic material came from. I think that's really important, and some of you are going to be quite appalled when you find out. So, also, coming up, I know you're going to be like, Emma, shut the hell up about nematodes, but I just think that there might be a connection between this virus and nematodes. So yeah, stay tuned, because we're going to be talking about that and so much more while we're staying at home, being children, because, oh my God, our government thinks we can't conduct ourselves in a proper manner. Aw, shoot. So, let's just have powwows together every day until they figure their shit out, and then we just go back to doing what we've always done, which is do it ourselves and conduct ourselves just like we always have. I don't fucking get this shit. I don't get this stuff, guys. I'm sorry. I just don't. Sorry for the language for you guys that really don't like it. I really try. It just slips, and it's me, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry, I guess. But yeah, so in case this is the entire video, let me go ahead and say much love, one love, good vibes, and good night. It's getting kind of scary. Okay, so watching The Hidden Hand, and I'll leave a link for the video, the actual video, in the description. But I want you guys to hear this, okay? So I'm going to hit play, and I want you to listen. This is from the World Health Organization. So,
at the moment, in most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into
you know where this is going.
Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Find them and remove them in a safe and dignified manner. Like, you have got to be kidding me. Did you hear what he said? They're coming for you, and if you're sick and you're in a home, they're going to take you out. That's where this is headed.